Well, hello there, everybody. This is Blair Nightingale welcoming you back for another week on the Market Monday broadcast. We here at TRADEway do this session every single Monday at this time right here. This is our Market Monday session. If you are rejoining us, welcome. If you are coming back, this is something you've been joining and watching and following along with every single week. Welcome back to you as well. Love having all of you on there. I know that this program is growing, so we've got familiar faces returning every time, as well as those who are brand new. You saw a title or the title for today, Trading Basics. Okay, that is the series that we are currently in. Trading Basics. So you get to come on here, spend a little bit of time with me, and I'm going to show you that exact thing. I'm going to show you Trading Basics. I am a coach here at TRADEway. I am coaching students every single day, working with them, looking at their trades, my own personal trading. So it's something that I'm involved with. I'm talking with other coaches, people who are working at TRADEway as well. I am a licensed investment advisor, so I'm here to just take you into what can you actually learn that is going to help you feel more confident about your finances. I mean, I think it's worth it at this point, not just in this part of the series, but on Market Mondays in general, to say to everybody, whether you're new or returning, that is really the goal here. That is what we're doing. I want to give you good information that helps you know what is this trading thing anyway? And what can I do to move forward? What can I do to move forward? And today in this series, as I mentioned, we are looking at trading basics, and that's what we have been doing. We've had a couple of great sessions already in this series. You can always go on YouTube or on Facebook to our page, TRADEway, and you can look at the previous sessions in the series. So if you've missed that, whether you're joining us live today or you're watching this at a later point by recording, you can always go back and watch the other episodes in the series. Today, specifically, the trading basics, I want to talk about when you're learning trading, okay? Go deep, but keep it simple. Keep it simple. So I get this question sometimes when I'm speaking to people who are new to trading or are interested in trading, but they haven't actually started the process of learning to do it themselves yet. And it might go something like this. Well, you know, Blair, you showed me the basics here, but there's got to be more to it than that. And of course, at TRADEway, we've got many courses. Our introductory course, as I mentioned last week, is a 2-day course. We're going to teach you the foundation of the TRADEway system, what stocks to buy, when to buy those stocks, when not to buy those stocks, and when to sell them, right? It's not just when we buy them, but we got to know when to sell them as well. That's the foundation. And a lot of times when people learn the foundation, it's very exciting. It is very exciting to go, I see how you are making the market, which to many of us doesn't make any sense. It actually makes sense. I do see how I can know what to buy, when to sell. That's the goal. But again, then there's this honesty that says, well, there's just got to be more to it than that. And of course, there is more to the system and being a successful trader than just the basics. We don't leave people at an elementary level that doesn't equip them with the skills that they need to actually reach their goals, right? I've said this on here before. We don't do fluff. We don't do hype. This is no get-rich-quick scheme. This is a skill set, and we teach a skill set. And it's a very exciting thing to do. It's a very exciting thing to learn. But once we start adding some of those other things, what I notice, and I'm going to dive into this and show you guys here today, I notice that people can feel like they get to a place where they forget that clarity and those basics that they had from the foundation. And I want to give you some of that today. So that said off the bat, we are going to just say hi here. I see Benjamin. Benjamin's on every week. For those of you who join us every week, you know Benjamin is there. Jeffrey is there. If you are joining us, you're joining us for the second time, fifth time, eighth time, first time. Go ahead and drop your name in the comments. Let me know who you are, where you're from. I can see that you are on the broadcast, but I don't know your name unless you pop it in there. And of course, as we go along, if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer those questions for you, okay? So go ahead and pop those on there. I love receiving questions and getting those answered for you. This is an amazing time to do that, because when else today, tomorrow, this week, are you going to have access to a TRADEway coach where you can just jump on and ask any questions you want about the market? That is a huge part of Market Monday. I always have a focus that I want to go after in the episode. But if I'm honest with you, I am happy, or even happier, focusing on the questions that you might have specifically about the markets, so that I know where you're at and I can get you the information that you are looking for. David, I see you there from Portland, Oregon. Welcome, David. And Texas, we've got Texas as well. Welcome. Jeffrey says, can you breathe in Portland? Now, we've definitely got some fires out here, guys. So those of you out there want to pray for the West Coast, just would invite you to do that. We definitely need it out here. So I want to say this off the bat, and I'll continue to check for those questions. But let me start in and say this. There are foundations to trading. Now, I say foundations. They're not basics. Basics to me sound like something that you're going to learn, but later you're going to forget it and move on to the next thing. The good thing about trading is that we are going to learn certain foundations that I will use in every single trade. So even the beginning, the foundation of what we're going to learn, and I'm going to show you some of this today, you're never going to move away from that. So for those of you out there who even know what an option is, you know how to maybe trade complex option setups. You're an advanced student. You know that even then, these basics I'm going to look at, they don't change. They literally don't change. People are always shocked. Well, maybe not always, but often, when we say to them, if you take one of our stock classes, you might be interested in learning the power of options. But if you've learned the foundation in our stock class, you didn't know it, but you were already learning to trade options. Because these foundations are going to, as I said, be present in every single trade we do. And that's why it's so important that as we go on a trading journey, we add pieces to it. We don't lose sight of the foundation. And I see traders do that. This is about trading basics. Well, one of the trading basics is, as you learn, and I'm going to say this, I see traders, you start watching the news, you start diving into random, or maybe not so random, but there certainly are a lot of them, YouTube videos, books. You can pull in all kinds of information overload. And then we start to have so many pieces in play that we've lost the foundation. And when we lose that clarity, our trading never, it suffers. It's never blessed. It never benefits as a result of that. Because we can get in, let me just give you some examples here. For those of us who've traded, we can get into a conversation on buy points. When should I buy? I'm going to say there are two types of traders. Some that are going to buy as soon as it bounces off support. These are things we've covered in previous sessions. As soon as it bounces off support, I buy it. Have a tight stop out. Others, no, I wait for confirmation. It has to go a certain distance. I need to have a certain risk-return ratio. I like 2 to 1. Well, I like 3 to 1. Okay, I always put my stop out below the recent pivot. Well, I use the EMAs. Well, I use strictly price. I only trade uptrends. Well, I like shorting the market. I don't think we need market tone as much. I like trading this sector. I like trading that sector. And it can just go on and on and on and on. Now, these are important conversations. These are the kinds of conversations we have inside the TRADEway program all the time. But again, the pieces I'm going to show you, you cannot ever forget these pieces. And if you learn these pieces, they will serve you, okay? Because there's so many different things that happen in trading. And I watch traders do this. I don't know if anybody out there has heard of this phrase before, but it's called paralysis by analysis, or analysis paralysis. We start to learn so much about the markets, so much about what we can do, that we get to a place where we're not doing anything because we've got too much information and we've forgotten the basics. Okay? So, as I go into this, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I see a good question here, and I'm going to jump into it right now because I think we're in a good spot to transition over. Benjamin says, how do I, as a stock and options trader, know I am a successful trader? That's a very good question. That's a very good question. And it may be a little bit less obvious what I might say. You might just say, well, are you making money? And I think that's obviously valid. Are we reaching our goals? Are we reaching our goals? But I also think, as I said, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a skill set. And we have to be able to work towards that skill set. I was thinking about this earlier, I was talking to a student, very keen on trading, wants to trade, is a newer student in our program, and they want to trade, and they're working through the skill set, and they're working through some emotions, because emotions are always a part of trading. And they really, truly believe this is the answer for their family to reach the financial dreams and goals that they have. They have that conviction. They also believe that God, when they brought that heart desire to him, really, he was affirming and confirming, this is a road that I'm going to walk with you. Now, that is something that a lot of our students feel. It's always something that we leave between them and God, obviously, but they will share that testimony with us. And this individual did today as well. And I thought about, when God gives us a promise, when he talks to us, when he invites us into something, a lot of times we will think about the product. Oh, he said stock trading. And we begin to think a stock trader looks like this. And there's a certain level of breakthrough and fruit we begin to imagine. And that's not necessarily bad. We want to envision our goals. We want to see where we're going. Otherwise, we wouldn't invest in it. Vision, somebody said, gives pain a purpose. I'm going to say that again. Vision gives pain a purpose. Meaning, when I am connected enough to what I believe the fruit or the product is of a process, I'm willing to pay the price to make it through that process, because I value the product, right? If we don't value the product more than the cost, we won't pay the price and we will not obtain the product, the fruit. And I just really believe that God often, he invites us, like Israel, to the promised land. He has promises, whatever they are, right? That's between you and God. But there's promises, and there is a process between where I am and that picture I got in my mind once I received promise. Process is always a part of it. And if all we think is that a promise is going to turn into a product right away, we are so discouraged that we find ourselves in a process. But it is very normal to be in a process. As long as we are moving forward, then we are headed in the right direction. And that is, Jeffrey, I'm going to start calling you the P-man. Product, process, promise. Easy to remember though, right? We need to know that we're in a process. You say, well, wait a minute. What does this have to do with Benjamin's question? How do I, as a stock and options trader, know that I'm a successful one? Well, I think a lot of times in any goal, we might think, I am successful once that picture I had in mind. Maybe it's I want to make $3,500 a month in my stock trading. $3,500 a month. It's going to cover all my bills, and I'm going to work and trade full time. Students, those are their goals. That's exactly what they want to do, right? There's even a program within TRADEway that's specifically designed to coach students who've become full-time traders. This is all they do, right? We have a program for that in TRADEway. So this is the direction we're helping people move. We agree and we value that goal. But if you cannot see yourself as one who is successful, who is moving forward in a process until you get that breakthrough, I can tell you it can be a long road. And in some ways, it even short circuits the momentum and the grace that you have reaching that promise and reaching that product. Because we think we can only be confident or we can only feel like we're doing well once I get all the way up there, right? We have to break it down. So the reason I say that, how do I, as a stock and options trader, know I'm a successful one? I do not boil that all down to whether or not you have reached a certain numeric monetary goal. I don't. We need to be moving in the right direction, right? I'm not speaking sort of pie in the sky here. Math and numbers, am I meeting my goals, matters. And we do that in our programs here at TRADEway. But are you learning? Are you risking? Are you moving forward? If you are, that is a measure of success. Breakthrough is not just a moment. Breakthrough is a chain of links that tie you from a moment of risk and inspiration to a moment of breakthrough and manifestation. And that is true. It's kind of a mouthful, but I'm not just talking here. That is a reality. We can't afford to always think of breakthrough as just a moment. It wasn't just a moment. There were many moments that brought us to a manifestation. So Benjamin, if you are learning, if you are moving forward, if you are adjusting your mistakes, if you are augmenting or increasing your strengths, if you are saying, I have a promise, I have a goal, and I'm moving forward in that goal, I am resolute, there's a successful mindset in that is going to help you get further than somebody who does not have that mindset. In fact, a lot of times they won't even start. So that is how I define success. And yes, at some point along the way, absolutely, results. Results start to pour in, but results can ebb and flow. They can be subjective. You can get results and then immediately just go, well, no, actually, this is success. Anybody ever done this in life? I've done this. I achieved something. That was the goal. That was the fruit I had in mind. I achieve it, and then immediately it's sort of like I'm peering over the mountaintop and I'm going, oh, but look at that one. And it just keeps getting higher and bigger. What is success? I'm not going to go down this deep philosophical road. Maybe we'll save that for a Wisdom Wednesday. What is success? We are going to talk about failure on Wednesdays. Upcoming. I don't know if it's this week or not. For those of you who are familiar with our Wisdom Wednesday sessions, we're going to talk about failure. Today we're talking about success in response to Benjamin's question, but that is how I see it. I think that's extremely important because a healthy mindset for a trader, I believe, is one of the trading basics. And I've said this on here before. If you follow me, you know It can be hard to convince people, and I would say this today to you guys out there at home, sitting and watching right now. This is for you. Trading basic, this isn't in my notes, but I want to say this now. A trading basic that is most often overlooked by people who want to trade is, how healthy is my mindset? How much fear, how much doubt, how much greed do I have in my life? Well, you're going to find out when you become a stock trader. And attending to the mind, is it a healthy mindset? Do I have a victorious mindset? Do I have a positive mindset? I'm not saying trading is all mind over matter, but we better give attention to the mind because it's going to matter. It's a huge, huge deal. And I see people with the healthiest mindsets, man, I see them moving the quickest in trading. I've seen it time and again. So one of the trading basics, absolutely, is mindset. But today we're talking about just keeping it simple. So let me go ahead and pull up a chart for you guys. I'm going to delete everything I had on it just so you can't see that right off the bat. I'm going to do it this way. Sometimes I got to do sharing my screen with you guys a little bit differently. But we're getting it pulled up here. All right. All righty. So you can see the loop there. Hopefully now you can see this chart right here. By the way, talking about the basics, for those of you who are interested in looking at what I'm looking at right here, this is tradingview.com, just a simple free resource you can use if you're wondering. So let's grab that guy. Trading basics, okay? I want you to keep it simple. So here's what we're looking at. There's so many different things we can look at in trading. So I want you to understand the basics. You guys maybe have heard this before, where people who look for counterfeit bills do not study the counterfeit bill, right? What they do is they study the real bill. They study it really well so that anytime something else comes up, they are able to identify counterfeit bills immediately, not because they studied 1,500 different kinds of counterfeit bills. That's how they used to do it. They study the real one, and anytime something deviates from what's most important, they're able to notice it right away. So I want you to just get a couple of things right now that are the absolute fundamental basics to trading. Everything else, as important as it might be, gets added on top of that. But I want you to know this is the core. This is the real thing. This is what trading is all about, and I'm not going to lose sight of that. So, number one, we need to find, you guys can write this down. We need to find a pattern. A pattern. In stock trading, this is the most important thing. I would say I teach this at every event I do. Every one of our teachers, coaches in TRADEway will teach this, and I will get a coaching call in the office here at TRADEway or on our community platform online. And one of the first questions I will ask all the time, what pattern are you looking at? I'm going to ask the student, what pattern are you trading? They'll call me. They want to look at a trade. What pattern are you trading? If they have an answer, great. I know that they're doing the work. They're keeping the basics in place. They're understanding the very foundational things, and we can move on from there. But much of the time, especially early on, even though we've talked about the pattern, I will find that the student does not know. They've lost sight of it. Well, I don't really know what pattern I'm trading here. I just kind of thought, and I wondered if, and I was guessing, and I heard the news that whatever the case might be, something else drew them to the trade. I say this to students in one of our programs where we specifically work on mindset. I say price movement is not what we're looking for. Price movement is always present in the market. Prices are always moving. Okay? But patterns, setups, we call them, an edge, that is not always present. If we get sucked into price movement, we could get into the market anywhere, everywhere, all the time. And I see traders do that. But we've talked about this in previous sessions. Trading is about having an edge. We talked about what trading is and what trading isn't. It's never guessing, gambling, or going for it. Trading is making your money available to market movement when an edge is present. The beginning of that edge. The beginning of that edge is a pattern. Reliable, predictable, repeatable pattern. We don't guess where the market's going. I don't need to know the future to make money in stock trading. But I do need an edge. And that starts with a pattern. This is foundational. When I say keep it simple, remember the basics, this is one of them. If you're note takers, you want to write that down because you never lose this piece. Doesn't matter how advanced you get. In fact, I would say if you forget this piece, well, advanced has kind of gone out the window because now we're back down to square one. We've got to have a pattern. Blair, there are different kinds of patterns, aren't there? Yes, there are. We look at patterns and deep diving into what to do with patterns in our step one events. Okay, we look at different kinds of patterns, but I'm going to show you one today. Okay, I'm just going to double check and make sure we don't have any questions. Okay, great. Right here, our nifty software means that I can grab a line and I can draw it just like that. I could double that guy up. Pop that right in there. And if we get a little further into our program, we'll teach you why would I do that right there. So I just added, in this case, 3 lines, but really 2 lines. 2 lines to this pattern, to this chart, okay? And those 2 lines help me know when I'm going to buy and sell the stock. Literally. And again, in our step 1, we go specifically into how do I draw these lines well? How do I draw them correctly? But if I add them on here, I've now got method to the madness. And that's what I want you to see here. I not only know what stock to look at, I might be in a watch list here, jumping from one stock to the next. Okay, which one? I don't know. Which one should I pick? I don't know. Starts with finding one that has a good pattern. Then, note takers, then I'm going to draw support and resistance. I'm going to put these lines on there. That's the next thing I'm going to do. So I want you guys out there to know, especially for those of you who are new, this is actually when we start to put some meat on the bones. What is trading? I know a lot of people feel a lot of different things about trading. And maybe you've been told even that it's really not possible, that it is guessing, gambling, or going for it. It can't be any more than that. It can't be any different. There are some very smart people in our world who say that's exactly it. You have to gamble, guess, or go for it because there's no other option. Well, myself and many other traders who've been doing this for a long time are able to say, that's simply not true. That's simply not true. But the skill set and disciplines of trading are absent for so many people who mingle with the markets that it's easy to believe the lie that you must guess, gamble, or go for it. In this case, I've found a pattern, I've added support and resistance, and then I begin to implement a plan. So I want to say this. When we talk about the basics, keep it simple. No matter what I learn, no matter what I do, no matter what I hear in the news, no matter what technical stock variable I add as I grow as a trader, or I hear in those videos and those books and those podcasts and whatever you might be exposing yourself to if you're not a TRADEway student. There's so much information. A lot of it is conflicting. It becomes confusing. Keeping it simple is really important. I'm looking for a pattern. I'm looking for where's the bottom and where's the top. You can see this pattern. I kind of call them peaks and valleys. Nobody else says that, but I think of it when I'm teaching about peaks and valleys. You basically got mountains. You got mountains, you got valleys. This makes a valley. It comes back down to the bottom line. And when it hits the bottom line, buyers come back into the trade. They're able to prop up the price. Eventually, it moves back up to another peak. Bottom to top, bottom to top, bottom to top. You say, well, Blair, there's some in this pattern that didn't get all the way back up to the top. What do I do with those? There's things there that we can look at, specifics. That's part of the journey, like I said, of going beyond a simple Market Monday and going, well, what else do I need to know? But the basics is the most important thing here. And of course, that's the purpose of our session, is that look at what happens with this price. I've literally found a market environment, a stock, that from about mid-April, okay, to pretty recently, almost September. By the way, I'm not ignoring this up here. I understand that that's happened. So I wouldn't be messing with that, but that doesn't change how reliable, predictable, and repeatable this was through the summer. And there are patterns like this out there. These are actually very common, okay? The market had been doing this for quite some time. So it's very normal to find stocks like this as well. So I've got these lines. They help me know what to do when I'm buying and selling. And then from there, I want to know, the next thing is that I have at least 3 prices in mind, okay? I'm going to stop this. That I have at least 3 prices in mind. What are they? Number 1, I want to know, where am I going to buy this thing? Because I'm always going to plan the trade. This is a basic. It's amazing what happens when the basics are forgotten. Stock trading is so much kinder to us when we keep the basics in place, keep the rules, and don't let other things steal our attention from this. Pattern, where am I going to buy and sell? Got to have those lines on there. And then I know where I'm going to buy it because I'm making a plan before I ever risk money. Who out there thinks maybe I'm going to be less emotional in a trade? Let me phrase it this way. Who out there thinks I'd be less emotional when I'm in the trade or before I get in the trade? If I've got money on the line or I am deciding whether I should put money on the line. Obviously, I think all of us would say, well, you're going to be more emotional when you put money on the line, of course. So doesn't it stand to reason then that we should plan our trades before we ever get in? Right? So what we want to do is we want to plan before. And Jeffrey said correctly, you'd be more emotional in the trade. So let's make decisions when we're less emotional. At TRADEway, we talk extensively about how emotions affect your trading. So we want to know, when am I going to get in? We're also going to want to know, when am I going to get out? When am I going to get out of the trade? And there's 2 ways I can get out of the trade. I'm going to sell the trade for a profit because it did what I wanted it to do. I didn't know it was going to do it, but the pattern showed me that it has been and it could, and I got into the pattern and it did. It went to my sell point. Great. We got to know where that sell point is. Where are we going to sell? Because let me just go a little bit deeper on this for a second. When you're in a trade and it's making money, especially you're new, you've never done this or you haven't done it much, and you're in a trade and you're going, I am making money sitting and watching red and green candlesticks on my computer. It's an amazing thing. It's a little strange in a way. Sometimes I shake my head when I'm in the morning and I'm personally trading. I shake my head a little bit. This literally happened last week where I'm going, what I do is weird. You know, of course I love it, but it's a little like, it's kind of weird. I mean, I'm just literally like, there's red and green candlesticks moving on the screen, and this is what I do. It is a little weird. But if I'm in there and it's actually doing what I want it to do, that can produce some pretty strong emotions. And that means that I might be tempted to go, well, you know what? This trade is making me money. If I stay in, it might just keep making me money. And that can be a very seductive voice. So it helps me if I have already decided, nope, I already know I made the decision before I even got in the trade, before I made anything. I'm going to get out at this point, and then I know, and I have it, and I'm able to execute that. Okay? I also need to know, here's another basic, and this is the big one. This is the big basic. You guys are getting some really important trading stuff today. We have something available to us when we use a brokerage account, no matter which broker you use. Remember, that's who helps you buy and sell stocks. Something we use called a stop loss. I always joke with people, what does a stop loss do? Well, it's in the name, right? If the trade goes against you, you will be able to stop the loss. And what it is it's an order that we teach you how to put into the market. Once you purchase the stock, you will be able to put this order into the market, and if the stock should go against you, it will, at whatever point we decide, it will automatically kick you out of the trade. So you never, ever have to get into a trade thinking, well, this could go to zero. If it goes against me, who knows how much money I'm going to lose? We don't trade that way. We don't trade that way. We know how much we're going to risk before we get into the trade. So, recap, I know when I'm going to get in, I know when I'm going to sell if I get a profit, and I know when I'm going to stop out. Jeffrey says, I love stop losses. They have saved me a lot of money. Saved me a lot of money. I have a warranty on my vehicle. Something goes wrong with my vehicle, I literally push a button right next to me. I flip open this little thing and I push a button. It's a red one. And it calls the roadside service. And they come and they take care of the car and they fix it. And because I have that in place, I've saved a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of stress. And to me, that's just like a stop out. It's there. Boom. Something happens that I didn't want. It's possible. Can happen. I've got that in place. That's a stop loss. A lot of people don't know what a stop loss is. They don't know how to use it. Where do I put my stop loss, Blair? How do I put that in? Well, that's not the scope of what we're going over today, but that is something that we cover extensively in our course. So we got to know stop loss, but big picture here, these are basics. So as we get into some other things, I want you guys to be aware and know that we never lose sight of this. We sometimes on these Monday market sessions, we go into what's the market been doing? Where's it going from here? And we begin to look at different variables of where's the market going. I love doing that. Okay, that's a daily practice for me, and I get to do that with you guys from time to time. But even then, even in that atmosphere, I want us to remember what we looked at today. I am never going to graduate from the basics, right? From the foundation. I'm going to look for a pattern. Support and resistance come next because that's what tells me what to buy, when to buy and sell. And speaking of when, I'm going to know when am I getting in, when am I getting out of this trade? And I'm going to know it before I ever risk any money. Those are trading basics. I'm telling you what, those alone are light years ahead of what most people who are brand new to the market, who just go ahead, jump on the iPhone, open a brokerage account, call their bank, said, hey, I'd like to be able to buy and sell some stocks in my bank account. That's light years ahead of what they're even thinking. This is very, very, very important foundational stuff. David says, I feel like I keep messing up stop losses. I think they're too tight. I get stopped out too often on trades that end up working very well. I'm having trouble fixing that. So, David, I'm going to give you a tip today, and everybody else is going to get this for free. I'm going to give you this tip today. We're going to look a little closer at a stop out. I think this is going to be good. This is still going to be foundational, but we're going to dive in a little deep, and I think it'll be a good example just to say, okay, look, we can dive a little deeper. Because what David just did is a question that would normally, I receive questions like that all the time. This is what it means to have access to the TRADEway coaches, where you can reach out to one of us and we would actually sit with you online, on the phone, whatever the case might be, if you're in our program, and then we actually work on this with you. We help you. We're committed to you as a student getting to the goal that you have set for yourself. But I know there is, as we've already said, there is a process to get to that product. And this is part of it. But having said that, we're looking at the basics and keeping the basics in mind, even though right now I think it'll be good to give you a little bit of an example. So there's our infinite loop once again. Let's head back on over to the charts. They may not, I haven't signed in. I'm on a different browser here so that you guys can see it. And let's just make sure they're going to let me do this. I can explain it to you, but I would love to be able to show it to you to answer David's question. And so let's head on back. By the way, we've been looking at CRM, Salesforce today. It's moving a little slow. So there's our pattern. We've lost our lines. That's okay. Not hard to draw on there. In fact, you know what? I think a good example. Let's say you were looking at this guy. Okay. Quick tip. Not going to go into a ton of detail here, but quick tip. If I was going to get in here, if you were a part of my Insiders Plus program, you know that I talked about this stock. If you're on here today and you were on that broadcast, this is just over a week ago now, there was a Thursday afternoon where I do a broadcast with all my students. It was this day right here. I literally said, this will be a good stock to keep an eye out for, just even as an example. Okay, I didn't tell everybody to run out and buy the stock, and I'm not saying that today. But this will be good to watch. That was the Thursday. There's the Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and of course this is Monday today. This is what happened. Boom, and we've reached back to that level today. How on earth did I know that this was going to happen? The truth is I didn't know, but I know how to follow the basics that I taught you today, and I know how to do it quickly because I've done it so many times. I saw it in this. Now, we're getting to the question. What if I was going to do this trade, which is now past? That obviously was last week. I would say I'm always going to put the stop out below the most recent pivot. That would be the most recent pivot. If I make it too aggressive, what's going to happen? I might just get stopped out early because The buyers defended this price at that level right there. They defended the price at that level. So I want to know that my stop out requires them to fail in the defense of that level. See, they've shown me that they're willing to defend it. So I'm going to bank on them doing that again. And I'm going to make sure that I'm outside of that. So that if I put my stop out here, well, what happens if it goes down, I get stopped out. They defend that level like they did last time, which we're looking at right here. And then it goes back up. Bummer for me. I'm now out of the trade and it's moving back up. I took a loss when maybe I didn't need to do that. I would put that below the most recent pivot. Okay? That is a huge, huge piece of information for people to use when they are trading, okay? That one you get. You never know what you're going to get when you join the Market Monday broadcast. This is what we do all day when the markets are open. Practically, we're not giving you concepts here. We have tens of thousands of students. They are actively trading every day. They're sending me and the other coaches their trades. We are personally trading. We're looking at the markets. We are in live market environments. So we have real answers for real situations, for real people, because we have real goals. So that said, everybody, we're at about 45 minutes. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for the questions, for joining, for being on here. We're back this time, this channel on Wednesday for the Wisdom Wednesday. We're looking at Christians as cultural catalysts. This is a huge part of it because really, listen, what is all this breakthrough for? We're not just building castles for ourselves. What is all this breakthrough for? What does this mean? How are we being empowered to affect for the kingdom of God, the love of Jesus, the world around us? TRADEway maintains that mission. Our mechanism has always been in the stock market, but the mission remains the same. We talk about that on Wednesdays. Okay, guys, thanks so much for being on. We will see you then. If you are interested in getting into one of our online classes, head on over TRADEway.com. You'll see it right on the main page. Click that for less than $100. You can learn way, way more than you got from me today even. I think we covered some good stuff, but you get the full meal deal there. Step one, start your journey, TRADEway.com. Head on over there.